So how's everything been? Well, how long you been in town?
Been in town. I got here last Friday, I think. I haven't been here too long.
Okay.
And I
Would
won't
you
be
take
here.
this time the train or?
Oh no, no! Don't get me started. Every time I try to take public transportation,
It's always really bad.
it goes downhill. I guess it's just me,
Mm-hmm.
but the train wasn't that bad compared to
The bus.
the flight. I took a
Oh
flight
yeah,
one
I remember
time
that.
for Christmas, and it was a 5 hour delay. But they kept like telling us each hour, so like I was supposed to land in San Antonio like around 2:30.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Did not land like around. I didn't land until 7:30 at night.
You were dreaming. It would have taken you longer to drive, or
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is.
I
For me,
wanted to be faster, but
no,
nope.
not in my watch. Same thing
But I
with
took the train to that airport. Like in Dallas, they have a whole bunch of public transportation. Right?
really.
I I try to use it as much as I can because I don't like driving. And
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
the
good, man.
Metroplex is kind of crazy, but not as crazy as here. People don't know how to drive here.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I always, and then having kids, it's way worse because it's like before it's just you and you're like, as long as they're not driving too fast, I could get hit no problem. But when you got kids, it's like, you feel the road rage. At least me a little bit more so. It's just like, come on, man, I got kids, dude. Like, just drive right or go somewhere else when you're driving. I don't know. That's pretty bad. So let's go get into it. Uh, so this is a year and a half after you've graduated, right? I mean,
About, yeah.
and you put on don't disturb. There you go. And last I remember, you were in charge of the AV system for a very big hall or
It's the student
communal
union.
area for.
Over 25,000 people walk through there every day.
So is it like the quad or what? Is
It's
it
like it's like
outside
the
or is it inside?
It's inside. It's like
Ah,
it's like the little food court
for the college.
for the campus.
And everyone's it's like the crossroads, the intersection between a lot of the
Yeah,
buildings
all the student
around.
organizations are located there, and that's where they have their offices, and that's
Okay.
where they meet. And we have little meeting rooms for them,
Yeah.
and we also have we call it the Lyceum, which is our auditorium.
Hmm.
I think it seats around 400, and we have I do a
Do you
sound.
do lights too?
Yeah, I do lights as
Wow,
well.
that's it sounds simple for those who don't know, but
No,
then
lights
you
are
look at the it's
lights
very
are really
intricate,
hard.
Mm-hmm. I've
Lights
seen
are
those,
really
those
hard.
switchers. What's the official word for those things?
Board. We just call it the board.
The board. Yeah, it's rough. You got to know the map. You got to know the intensities. You got to know.
And
Wow, so you do
it's
that
not
too?
very user friendly. I'll tell you that. You can't.
And this is coming from someone who has tech, who's not afraid to learn the technical skills for
Yeah, I mean,
different, AV
like my
equipment.
position with EPR really helped me get that job. It
No
really
way.
did.
No
that's
way.
that's probably like the main reason I got that job. I mean,
They knew you had experience.
I
with-
think I could have gotten it before, but I didn't have very much experience. I just recorded like little songs by myself. That's all I would do.
But scheduling people in,
Yeah.
and, audio levels, recording a band.
I guess like working with the group,
Yeah.
that really helped too.
Yeah, nice man.
So yeah, my technical director position
Mm-hmm.
really
And
stood out for
it's
them.
documented there in all of our pages. Whenever from the beginning, you can literally on the
Yeah.
archives trace the progress and the development of the class and the organization through the archives month by month, and you see everything and everyone there changing from year to year. It's very interesting. Speaking of that, how do I go about this? I remember. Well, I want to do like a shot. I was thinking about this yesterday. I didn't write it down, but because for students who are currently AV students now, they might not know this, but the audio room, the way it looks right now, is very different from the way it was when I inherited it, and the whole MTV look, the recording room look, the place to do interviews, the main hub for everything audio. Because it used to be only a control room to control the studio, the lights.
Yeah, I remember there.
Right, but right now the way it is, it's its own independent entity and function, and
I
right now
spent
we.
so much time there.
Oh yeah, well people don't know this, but well I mean I haven't mentioned it as much I guess. recently as I did before, but Victor was one of the main ones. He spent 2-3 weekends working on that place, cleaning it up, and then helping me make it look.
It really helped that it was senior year and didn't have anything else to do. So
But the way it looks now, it hasn't changed much. I added a couple of vinyls.
I saw that. I
Did
saw
you see that? Right?
pictures.
Yeah, the Bob Dylan poster. We still have the Velvet Hughes poster from when we recorded them, when you recorded them, and interviewed those guys. And it still is one of the most popular rooms in the studio, in the classroom. You don't know this now, but now you know where so you come into the classroom, and then there was a door to go to the studio, and then which leads to the podcasting room.
Yeah.
Well, I had to make a little clipboard that hangs here. I had to put days of the week, and then made it like a checkout form where you can check out.
So a lot of people are using it now.
Exactly. A lot of people are using it. So much so. I was going to wait until next year. I was thinking like, hey, next year's the year that I'm going to have to place limits and time restraints because a lot of people are using it as opposed to before. It was just a few that would use it, knew how to do it, and would get down. Now it's like I had to rush that to now because like.
So are they messing? Are they messing with everything?
Mm-hmm. I got Molina's younger brother Abraham, who's doing a lot of the similar work I'd say that you were doing. He's learning to record, learning how to master, and he does his own thing. He's very very smart, and he's always willing to work, and he's always asking me if I can get if anyone needs to be recorded, if he needs any music, if we need any music, you know, he's always putting himself available. So he's kind of only recently because he's not necessarily taking a class, so he kind of
had that keyboard, right? The keyboard's still there. Yeah, that was really fun to mess with.
That's still there. We got the 2 condenser mics. We got the 6 input or 8 input, 8 output.
I remember that.
Yeah, we got that.
That was well deserved.
Yeah, that was
well
awesome.
Needed too.
Yeah, so it started with you, specifically that room, and it's still developing because the studio we've gotten some flats, we built some L's, and there's the other room that had the restroom next to it. That one we're kind of fixing it up a lot too, and I want to make it into like a writer's room. Do you remember when we went to Texas Tech and it had that idea lab or whatever for the marketing and advertising?
I remember that, yeah.
That was really sick, right? I'm trying to make it like that, and I'm trying to make it so that when you're there, you feel like you're in a different location, like it's supposed
in a creative space.
Exactly, the way the podcasting station currently is. And little by little, I haven't had anyone truly own it the way you own it.
It's such a weird room, though.
It is, but we've been working with it. We've been working in it. I've kind of made it into like a storyboarding area. We got a cork board, kind of the way we usually inherit things. We find it on the side of someone's room. Yeah. No one's using it. We ask for it. Been using it as a storyboarding room. We have some computers there, and I get practicum students or kids that took my class last year, the practicum class last year, who are seniors and are currently my student aides, and they hang out there right now. But yeah, you know, the podcasting station is what it is in large part because of you. And I'll never forget when you barely came in. It was, I don't know.
Yeah, I just dropped out of band. It just dropped out of band. Greatest decision I've made.
I don't think, you know, I always play around with the kids, the current, and all of them, I think I might have said this when you were a student too, but I always say that band is like, it's the jealous / possessive girlfriend, where, you know, because it's like, I mean, I say jokingly, I mean, clearly, students, teenagers, in order to get them to perform the way the band's been performing for all these years and decades, the way that they've been winning awards, like, they need focus. But me being an audio video teacher, it's kind of hard to bring in interest and bring in great quality students because, you know, there's always band there saying like, oh, wait a minute, who's that? You know, I don't know if
I feel like you guys are the opposite side of the spectrum. Like bands are like like an old school kind of
Right.
like feel,
Right.
like really old school, and then
Well,
media tech is like very
Yeah, well,
modern.
but the thing is, it's like what I like about the class, and I mean, I barely started teaching this like 2.5 years ago ish, is it's meant to get you a job. It's meant for
got me a
work
job,
skills,
yeah.
you know, and it's meant like you're gonna be better. You're gonna have certain skills. Granted, kids in band do have certain skills for that, but these are marketable skills that you can get paid for. Building a website, taking properly composed and framed photos, learning how to audio and edit, learning how to record video, learning about lighting, putting that all together. I mean, because everything we do now is on social media. And how do they show us social media? Through pictures, through video,
Yeah.
through text. And, you know, I play with the kids. Have you seen the Ready Player One commercials yet?
I've seen one.
Did you see, okay, how trashy that area looks in the real life area?
Yeah.
Trailer parks literally stacked up on trailer
Yeah,
parks, right?
I remember.
Well, you know, I don't want to sound too weird here, but I feel that in a weird way, we kind of are currently living that right now because, you know, not that our current circumstances are ugly or meager, but
It's because you only show the good side on social media.
exactly.
You only talk about what's happening.
Very curated,
like-
man. You know, and it's there for 24 hours or for forever. And anytime anyone sees it, it seems like they're currently living that. But what I was going with is, do you remember in that movie, the trailer? I've only seen the trailer. Oasis. They all escape. Where we all make things
virtual
happen
reality,
is in the
yeah.
Oasis, right? Well, Oasis right now, I think it's the real thing right now. It's Facebook, Snapchat, all the social media platforms, because they're a quick dopamine hit for kids that are bored or not entertained or that don't want to look up. How many kids actually go outside, to, you know, on a typical night and look at the stars and are amazed by the stars right now, right? Very few.
Yeah, very few. It's just
They all escape into that weird oasis. Well, anyway, I would rather, this is a very dystopian idea, right? But I would rather kids be aware and know to be a part of the world that creates the quote unquote oasis, that creates the beautiful pictures, that creates the beautiful stories, that entertains the 95% of the population. I'd rather my kids be the 5% that make that stuff, or that at least understand it in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like make their own world.
Yeah, because that's where we're going. You know, I don't know. So, anyway,
Well, that's what everyone's pushing for, right? Like on YouTube is like.
yeah, don't
Well,
get me
YouTube's a different story.
Yeah, well, no, it's all the same thing. It's all designed. There's an article by The Atlantic called "Are Smartphones Destroying a Generation?" and it correlates stress, anxiety, suicidal behaviors. It correlates all of that to not only smartphones, but the link between smartphones and social media and how addictive both of those things are. I'm good.
I'll take some more.
So they're intertwined in a way that's
Thank you.
you can't have one without the other. Like social media, when it was just in your computer and you didn't have smartphones, like you could live outside, you could go swimming, go for a walk, and you didn't feel like, oh, like, you know, you had this constant notifications, red buzzing and all that stuff. You know, you would left. But now it's like, bing, you know, it's designed to make you like, oh,
Like, it
this
makes you
person
wonder
just
how we
posted that.
lived without social media.
Yeah. Well, we had this really cool podcast. I got it from Bill Burr. Bill Burr is the comedian. He mentioned something. It was called, you know, before internet fun. and I won't go too much into what he said, but I asked my students to do something like that, and I was their guinea pig. So it was like what life was like before the internet. And I took a deep dive into that, and I was like, wow, I used to do a lot different things before, you know, the social
Really?
media. And I don't even get into social media that much. I'm very aware of its the negative impacts of it. I'm also aware of the functionality of it, but I do try to minimize it as much as I can. To be honest, the only reason I check social media, the only reason I check it, is for our school's account, our Weebly, our Weebly Eagle Public Radio account. to share posts. So I have to log in order to share it with my network of friends and people. And
I hardly use social media.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
much of a poster, but I'm more like a lurker.
you're always reading. And,
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like seeing what other people are doing.
Yeah, but
And
that's the way it is.
I'm more of a fan of Snapchat. That's me.
Exactly. That's the future.
But that's such a weird concept though.
It's disposable.
It's very disposable.
Disposable media as
Like
opposed
you really
to.
can't. You can't do very much with it. At least right now.
Well, you know what though? I'm too old to understand it apparently. And I know that Snapchat's working on ways to make it easier for the older generations to get into it. But they still employ addictive technologies. They really have addiction engineers from Las Vegas into social media. Snapchat is one. You have Snap Streaks, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same concept as when you're trying to break a habit or make a new habit for yourself. They have streaks or this idea that like if you post something to your story every day, you know, you're rewarded somehow. And it keeps you going.
No, it's with you when you message each other, one
Ándale.
another back and forth, without like
Well, that's addictive. In
without like a
nature, right?
24-hour like
Pause
break or something.
Just pick up the phone, man, and call somebody. Just talk to people, man.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I think calling someone is just so weird nowadays. Like I've never been a big fan of calling someone.
It is somewhat of a drag because there is etiquette. There's this, like, okay, so you call, right? The phone rings. It's old school, right? Dial tone. They pick up, and like if you gotta go somewhere, like, or if you guys were planning on going somewhere, or if you're just gonna ask them a question, it's so much easier to avoid all the etiquette and just send a text like, "Hey, are you ready?"
You pause your day when you're trying to call. Like you wait like at least 10 seconds for them to pick it up. With a text, you just like, "Hey, what are we gonna
Exactly. Are
do?"
you ready?
Hit
Let's
send
go.
and do what you're gonna plan to do.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot faster, I would say. But
Yeah.
there are some conversations that do require a phone call.
Yeah, there are breaking up with someone, right? I've heard the kids don't do that anymore. through even person to person, it's more of a sad face, going her own way, our relationship, and then face with crosses on the eyes.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Change your relationship status.
Yeah, there we go. That's
how you do it.
I don't know. That's so weird to me. Oh boy. So I spoke to your mom the other day, and she told me you switched officially now your major.
Yes, I passed my pre-calculus class
Okay.
because I didn't take any math classes at the high school.
No,
So
what was your highest math class? Algebra 2?
I think pre-cal.
Oh, okay. No, you're good.
I failed pre-cal the first time,
It's a
and
rough
then
class.
I took it again. But now when I took it in college, it was like
Easier? It helped?
it was a lot easier.
Math.
Like I think about it now, I was like, why? Oh, in the first class I failed, I had my friends,
Yeah.
and the teacher was like, she was very relaxed. Like
This
you
is
did-
high school or pre-cal?
high school,
Okay,
high
okay.
school. I only took pre-cal in college once. and I
Okay.
passed.
You
So
passed, okay.
in both those classes, I had my friends,
Yeah.
and it's really hard.
Distraction? Yes, y'all.
And with math, it's like you miss one subject, you're off on one, you're off on the rest.
Foundational.
It's-
Foundational.
Yeah.
So then, so you passed your pre-cal class and for college, and then
And now I'm gonna take Cal 1, and well, you have to take pre-Cal in order to, because I was in pre-engineering.
yeah, it's a prerequisite. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very
Taking
strict
my
about it.
prerequisites, and then well, since I passed pre-Cal, I'm moving on to Cal 1, and I'm now eligible to change my major,
Okay.
to do a major change,
And what are you gonna go into? Engineering and what?
electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering.
Like-
From audio, from wanting to be into everything audio, to going. How did that happen? Why did it happen?
I did a lot of research. I mean, I found out like
Jobs
like,
wise or what?
just like looking online, like at least like Reddit. I remember like looking at people that I would ask like, "Oh, I'm going to college for audio engineering. Like, what are tips or like what do you recommend and stuff?" And a lot of people were saying like, "Don't go to college for that. Like, don't go to college for engineering, like audio engineering, because I mean, it's all experience based.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much you can learn in the class, but like once you're like actually recording, that's when you actually know like
Yeah,
how to do
hands-on.
stuff. Yeah, it's really hands on. And the market's just so saturated. Because, I mean, look at Moses' brother. He's doing his own
Yeah.
production stuff.
Right.
I do my own production. Everyone's doing their own production stuff. You can make a little home studio for like less than $150.
Wow.
And everyone's doing that now. So everyone wants to be an audio engineer.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do, I was really bummed out about it, but I thought about it. I was like,
That's okay. It's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah,
but
I was
it's good
like-
that you found out now in the early stages of college.
I like to have a very stable future.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I was just thinking, because I looked on Reddit, and like a lot of people were saying like a lot of their like the people that they learned from, like they recommended like
Okay.
going to electrical engineering.
Okay.
Because you learn about like actual signal flow, you learn how the stuff works, and that's kind of what it really is. Like, you know
But
how.
you're learning it at a more fundamental level.
Yeah, the more I'm a very technical person, so
Yeah.
I like to know how things work and
Yeah.
why things work.
It made sense when your mom told me that, and when I found out Moses went into computer science, it made sense. Like, as students, the recording equipment was very secondary to you guys. It was like that's not the big deal. Like, you guys were very foundational, like the audio. When you were telling me about the vinyl recordings and the bumps and the stereo and the left and the right. And all.
It's still very foreign to me. It's
Yeah, but the fact that as a teacher, when students talk to me about that, and they're trying to understand that themselves, it's very clear to me why you would switch. And like it wouldn't be enough for you, to just major in something like audio engineering alone. Like for you to go into electrical engineering, Moses into computer science. It seems like that's the kind of rigor these guys deserve,
And yet, when I was being interviewed, because I had 3 interviews signed up when I applied. One at the Union, which is the job I have right now,
Right.
and one at the Murchison Performing Arts Center. And so like all the jazz bands, all the operas, the symphonic bands, they play there.
That
And
is neat.
I basically do the same thing as I do in the Union.
Oh.
But it's a more formal place.
The Union is.
No, the
Where you work?
the Performing Arts Center, because that's where all the
I'm sorry, you work at the Union. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about performing arts. Yeah.
And I was being interviewed there, and I told the guy, my interviewer, I'm planning to switch because I was meaning arts major, and I told him I was planning to switch to electrical engineering, and he was like, yeah, like a lot of I'm an audio engineer too, and a lot of my friends, they're electrical engineers, and they always say like we're looking for more people with a technical background.
This
Yeah.
skill set as opposed
Yeah.
to simply, okay. And for me, this is really good to know. So be as detailed as possible, because other audio students or students that want to study audio will tune in later, or if they don't tune in and I find out about a few kids, I could better help them. Because I studied math. I was a pre-cal teacher and algebra 2 teacher, so do go on, tell me more about this information. So his friends were all in electrical engineers.
Yeah, and he just told me like, yeah, a lot of people are looking for like that type of background.
To work in the audio world, though.
Yeah, it's more favorable.
It's more favorable. Okay.
Because you just don't know like how to record. You know like how things interact with one another. Because I guess that's how audio is.
Yeah.
There's very like just so many like different kinds of compressors and like different effects, like things you need to use,
Yeah.
and like they interact with each other like so differently.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he was trying to say because I'm still learning. But
Yeah.
It's just I guess it's just how like different things sound with each other, like going like an analog signal into a digital signal.
Yeah.
And then converting that back into analog and making sure it sounds crisp,
The
making sure
quality
it
sounds good
sounds
still.
good, and making sure like nothing like everything interacts with each other well.
Okay. Right. Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense. Just like the engineers behind Sonos and Bose, those guys are like Ivy League professors, and they designed their speakers.
That's what I want to do.
They're tiny, right? But the sound is crisp. It's clear.
That's mainly what I'm making for.
Yes.
I really want to make my own speakers or make my make my own guitar amplifiers.
Right.
Like, I want to stick with music.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I can't be out there singing every night. That's not
yeah,
me.
you'll go hungry, right? The whole starving artist idea. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's
as much
rough.
as I would love it, it's just,
It's very competitive. Right
it
now.
really is.
you're right,
And there's
it
a
is.
lot of good people. Like,
Yeah.
I would have to practice, like, so much.
Yeah.
And then, what was I saying?
So with respect to audio, why electrical engineering? You know, you would have more skill
yeah.
sets.
Because I really want to make my own guitar pedals. I want to do things audio related. That's
Right.
me. I want to help people, like, get the sound that they want. Get the
Right.
sound that's in their head. I want to help them.
Right. And so, what are you planning on, Victor? Are you gonna stay in the Denton, Dallas, Fort Worth area once you're done, or what kind of
Maybe.
job are you looking for? That, you know, in the near future, like once you're done with college, what
I
would
would
be a
just
good
have
job for
to.
you?
I would just have to go through the courses and feel
figure
my
out-
way through. Because I know a previous coworker of mine. He was he was an engineering major, and they always have job fairs on campus.
Yeah, yeah.
And he got a job. He got a internship for
Okay.
Ford in Colorado.
Wow. Okay.
So it was like, it was really impressive, and
Yeah.
I think they paid for his housing and everything.
Yeah, engineers are a special breed of kid.
For 2 years.
Because, man, I mean, how many people are willing to crunch numbers like that and do some?
I wasn't, but now I am.
yeah. So they'll pay for you to do all that.
And that's what really interested me. I was
Mhm.
like, I'm mainly looking to, like, I guess, like, audio companies or like staging
Okay.
companies.
We this year was real fun. I had great opportunity because Miss Castillon helped me and the students most of all. We took a trip. So a while back when you were a student, we went to the Frontera Film Festival publicity tour, and we visited PBS, Texas Tech, and a couple high schools to promote it. This year, I took the kids to Central Texas, or San Antonio really, and we visited Texas Public Radio. We visited KLRN, PBS Studios. We visited San Antonio College, specifically the TV, film, and broadcasting college within that school system. And then we visited UTSA communications department. And it was a real neat experience. And we have a video. I'll show it to you in a little bit. It was a really neat experience because they got to see people in the communications and arts, audio, video, technology. You know, both in the field with jobs, and then also in academia with jobs, preparing kids. And so they were like, okay, this is neat because I know where they work now. I know these people look like they're making a living, and they look really cool. They look like they're enjoying what they're doing. And then they went to the schools that took them there. To be honest, do a little plug in here, not getting paid, but it was just really neat to see this. Both Texas Public Radio and KLRN PBS had students from San Antonio College, TV, film, radio broadcast, working there.
Yeah, it's all about the experience. That's
Exactly.
how you do it.
And everyone said that not like the kids asked, like, how can we get jobs? Like, how can we kind of start trying to get in here? And every one of them said to, one, like, make yourself available. Two, give a little stab at a little bit of everything. Don't just stick to one thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to hire you just to record, and that's it. Like, you got to be a little bit of everything. You got to help out with as much as you can and be well-rounded and be valuable like that. And but I was really neat seeing kids from San Antonio College with jobs, and these were, like, I guess, you know, recent grads as far as, you know, between 2 and 5 years from being in that school to working here. So it was nice because in Eagle Pass, you know, we don't besides a radio station 92.7. Rick Mendez and Mr. B.
I feel if you really want to get into audio visual, especially like audio, I would say go to a church. That's
Oh,
how
that's right. Yes.
a lot of my coworkers, that's how they got their experience.
Really?
By church.
With
I don't know.
the mixing, the mixer,
Yeah.
the boards and all that.
Like I guess two coworkers of mine, they were really good. Like they knew the ins and out, how to make everything sound good. Like
Wow.
way better than I can.
Uh-huh.
And when they used to work there, like I would like go behind their back and see what they were doing.
Right.
And yeah, and they had like at least 10 years of audio experience just by
in the church.
Yeah, just by church.
Amplifying the.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So you know what to expect. So you know how to mess around and like how does this compressor work, or how does EQing it this way,
Yeah.
how that affects the sound. And so by 10 years of experience, they knew what to do.
Wow. Yeah, you know, when we just got the job and I was trying to learn and teach and give y'all cool experiences, a lot, specifically, you're right, audio, a lot of the learning audio mixing, a lot of it was applied to churches, to amplifying the people there.
Like
the
look up audio
musicians.
mixing tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, this like, oh, we have a 4-person choir, and like it's just
Exactly.
it's always a church setting. That's how you do it.
At least locally, no matter how small your town is, you at least learn there. Radio stations in Eagle Pass are good. Some newspapers are good. But that's pretty limited in Eagle Pass. The school district has a position. Has one big position, and then a few smaller ones in the audio video world. But I mean, as opposed to 120 teaching positions in each high school.
Yeah.
You know, that's teaching at least. It seems like it's very abundant, but I mean, not everyone wants to do that, and I don't blame them. It's hard work. It takes a special person.
It really does.
You know, but taking the kids there was really neat, and you know, it's kind of a confusing world for everyone, especially if you don't see it in action in your hometown. You don't see people making a living.
Yeah, that was really hard because I really wanted to get into recording when I was still here in high school, but I didn't have not a lot of people.
Who can you look at? Yeah.
Like, who do I record? So that's why I recorded myself.
Right. Well, you got the chance to record, and it's to this day still one of my favorite, one, videos, and two, audio recordings. Period. The Velvet Hughes downtown, and there was some hiccups there, you know. But even then, I loved it. It was neat. Remember the white balance was off on the cameras, and so they had to do it in black and white.
It's a learning experience.
But you only learn it by doing. You know, and then after that, it's like,
that's how you do it. You can
have to synchronize.
Don't just sit around. You can say, I can actually say, I did that project.
Exactly.
Even though it's not the greatest, I did that project.
It was done. I saw it through, from beginning to end. You know.
I did my best. I worked so hard on that.
Yeah, and I mean, and never like. It's always like that. You always try to plan. That's why I'm recording with 3. One doesn't work. One of them.
There's always something that goes wrong.
When we recorded at KINL 92.7, the H1 didn't record or something. I don't know. Like, something always has to go wrong. So you always have to be like prepared and double prepared.
That's half of my job right there.
Yeah.
Just waiting for something to go wrong. Oh, it's not asking like, oh, is something gonna go wrong? It's when and what.
Yeah. And so you have to really know.
Yeah, and I work with the jazz bands a lot over there.
How do you record? Like, okay, so if you have,
it's all live sound. That's what I do.
But how many mics do you get to play with?
Do
you get like if for a big group of like performers?
For the standard jazz band, there's 3 microphones in the front for the saxes.
Okay. Oh,
so
wow.
there's 5 saxes.
And they're evenly distributed?
Yeah, there's one in the middle.
Oh. Okay.
So there's in the middle, and then you have 2 for the trombones. Because usually the outer trombones, those are the ones that usually solo. Okay. But then they can move around too. And then 2 for the trumpets. The same outside, 2nd trumpet and 4th trumpet.
Right.
In between, right there. And yeah, they solo into there. That's the solo mic. So when like the whole group is playing, like they want us to have the microphones turned off. Like they want the room sound, but when they want it in the solo, they want us to turn that
Okay,
microphone up.
so is that how that works? So
That's how the jazz program wants it to work.
okay.
So
And how does that sound? It helps out a lot. Like when you want to amplify one specific instrument.
Yeah,
you're able to do
and
it
then
pretty
we
deep-
also
pretty
have mic for the guitar. Sometimes there's a vocalist, and we have a microphone for the conductor, so they can like.
deep. Now,
speak
is all
whatever.
this sent through receivers and transmitters all wirelessly, or is this
No, it's all wired. So
XLR?
yeah, XLR
okay.
into a floor box, and that floor box is connected Ethernet,
Oh, Cat 5.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only way.
and we have a router
Up to
in that
25.
little-
Oh, okay. So,
So,
it
yeah.
goes to the router.
and then it goes as a signal, as a wireless signal, into our board. I think that's how that works.
Oh, wow.
But you can connect everything with a Cat 5.
Yeah, Cat
Just-
5 is, I think I remember, up to 35 audio channels. I think it can fit them all
Yeah,
in there.
so
individually.
everything's on the stage. We connect everything on the stage. So there's no wires like protruding
that's
out to the
nice.
audience.
Yeah.
So I would say about 18, because we use like there's on our mixing board there's like different pages,
Uh-huh.
and for the jazz bands I use the whole full page.
Now,
So it's about 16, 18 microphones.
And when you're doing this for a stage, for the audience there, when you're playing the music, are you using all the speakers equally mono style, or do you go? Do you
It's
pick a
really
specific-
your preference. Like you're the sound
What
engineer.
do you do?
I
What do you
really
prefer in
don't
those
mess
cases?
with the panning very much.
Yeah, I
I
was
kind of can. I
Uh-huh.
kind of should. I have messed with it once. Like I had the drum kit. Like I guess like I wanted to recreate the drum kit like as if it was right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I put like the hi hat on the right hand side.
Uh-huh.
So like the drums like right in front of you.
Oh, okay.
But with the jazz bands, you really can't do very much because I guess they want to keep it old school.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So with other bands, yeah, that's when I really get to.
And then you get to play around. You get to move the different instrument to a different
Uh-huh.
side of the.
But I mess around with compression, EQ, and I just like I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And with saxophones, it's like you
That
kind
thing
of
is
like after
high,
doing it, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what to subtract and add. But I've always had trouble with bass, like with the upright bass.
Uh-huh.
It's just like
The waveforms are just so slow, or what?
yeah, it's
Like-
just like there's a certain boominess to it, and I want to cut that out.
Okay.
But,
yeah,
like,
'cause they
I don't
literally,
know.
Like, kind of slap it.
Yeah, it's like it's a chunk of wood. Like, it's
You're
gonna
right.
have some meat to it.
Yeah.
I want to take that out, but I just like I've always had trouble taking that out, and that's always bothered me. And that's I've always tried to get the best bass tone
Right.
every time I do the jazz bands. Because the bass, I mean, the
Yeah.
bass is 50% of the band. Honestly, that's what really the bass and the drums.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we have monitors for them as well. So that's another.
Oh, for them to hear
Yeah,
themselves.
for them to hear themselves.
Specifically, each group.
Yeah, we
for
have a
them to
monitor
hear
for the
them.
drums, the bass, and the monitors and the very far corner for the horns, so when they solo they can hear the rhythm section and sometimes the vocalist,
Okay.
and it depends. And yeah, like mixing like sound check. Sound check is really crucial.
Yeah.
I've had a band like that was like kind of half-assed for sound check, and I was having like kind of like trouble throughout
In real, because you're trying to do it in real time while they're performing.
yeah,
It's
that's
like-
why sound check is important. It's
Yeah.
important for the performers and for the audio personnel as well. So yeah, sound check like it really depends on the band. Some directors they do a sound check on their own. Like, hey, we're ready. Like I'm just there like waiting for them, basically. Wait for them to set up and everything. And like, hey, we're ready. And they go like saxophone 1, sax 2, mic 2, boom, boom, boom. We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
And then play like a hard part of a song, practice it a little bit, and then they walk off and wait for the actual show. And during that stage of the sound check, that's when individual people ask me for their personal monitor mix.
Oh, okay.
So like the drummer, he doesn't need the basses.
Yeah,
The
he-
bassist is right next to him. The amplifier is right behind him. He doesn't need to hear the bass, but what he does need to hear is the band and the solo mics.
Oh, okay.
So when a person's soloing, he can hear them and interact with his
Right.
drum set according to the soloist. And that's kind of hard because like you kind of have to have the microphones up a little bit, like in the main speakers, in order for the monitors to come out,
Right.
for it to come out in the monitors. So you kind of have to balance it a little bit. And sometimes like a person's like really wailing on the saxophone,
Right.
and you have to put the compression on,
Uh-huh.
and that's what I do. Like I put compression on every channel, every solo mic.
Yeah.
So like they play high notes and they're gonna get louder naturally.
Yeah, you don't want to start.
So you want to even out and not have like when they're solo, like they get very emotional.
Right.
So you play it like low and soft,
Right.
and then you speed up and you play it such high notes and like it pops out on the speaker like
Right.
it's kind of like overbearing sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
with the trumpet.
You want them to. You want the audience to feel everything and not to be taken off the moment because it's just too loud.
Yeah, so especially on the trumpets. I mean, the trumpets, they can. I mean, honestly, I don't really need to be there. It's just the solo mics that really, and the monitors. So they're professional. Like they know how to.
Yeah.
They play across the world. Like at least the 1 o'clock jazz band.
What about? Have you had any? Because I know you had a band over there, or were you a part of a band, weren't you?
In a band?
Denton?
No, I wasn't.
You didn't. I thought you got into a band. Were you about to?
No.
Okay, maybe I heard wrong. What about? Have you?
I've
had
jammed.
You jammed, right?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
jammed. Probably like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. It was like during finals week. Yeah, it was like I just finished my final. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this party, bring my guitar.
Awesome.
It was a fun time. It was well deserved. I needed
Yeah,
it so
no,
much.
testing. Kids don't know here. I mean, there will be a few that will get the chance to do that. And they literally, like, 24-hour library, they do use it. There are kids at that time,
There's
whatever
people
time
always
you
there.
go in there.
Yeah, for my last final, I went to the library like around 5:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and didn't stay there until I finished my test. So,
Or is there any work over there, or have you heard of, or that you've been involved with Foley, or with
Foley.
with people that are recording movies? I know Moses has had the chance to work with a lot of just video editing and
yeah,
special
he's with the
effects.
short film club.
Right.
That's what really.
But what about audio? I mean, because there is, you always need good audio for
Yeah.
a good movie. Otherwise, it's amateur.
I would say
Have you-
I've never really messed around with that.
No.
I mean, I'm
Would it
thinking
interest
to.
you?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
interested, but then I kind of like backed off a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But I think next semester, or like next year, I'll probably.
Go into that.
Because
little
half of my coworkers are like media arts majors, radio,
Right.
television, and film,
Uh-huh,
and that's what they
specific.
do. And I know a good coworker of mine. He does audio.
bit.
But
Okay.
he's not very much of a film person. He's a music major,
Oh,
and he just
okay.
does it like on the side. And he's an
Right.
audio guy, just like me.
But are there any Foley studios over there, or student groups, people that just focus on the audio realm of everything?
I couldn't find.
No.
I really couldn't find any opportunities for audio.
For au-
I mean, granted I didn't look very much, but
Nothing
I really
that came
don't
across.
see it.
And it's one of those things for me. Audio is one of my favorite forms of media because, as opposed to just regular newspapers or blog posts or even videos, audio, you get to hear the tone, you get to hear their emotion, you get to hear the stories, you get be working in your house folding, doing dishes, and hearing a podcast. I'm really big on podcasts. I'm big on music. I love all that stuff. And, I've always liked the audio world of film a lot. Not more than video, or like pretty much equal. And so when we went to UTSA, these are the people we spoke to, it didn't seem that they themselves had a very strong
audio,
they didn't audio world or video world. To be honest, it was very
I
like,
feel like you're kind of on your own.
Uh-huh.
I feel like because everyone knows, like it's so popular, like it's so
What's so
easy
popular?
to get it's easy to get good audio nowadays. Like with the H1,
Or
like
Rhodes.
yeah, just put on the Rode, slap it on, get the right gain setting, and you're
At
good to
least
go.
just
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
that's really all they think about. Like at least for like video production,
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
because I mean,
Well,
like
to be
video is
honest, man,
really
there's some
everything.
podcasts out there right now that are out of this world that don't just record voices, but they do put in and make their own Foley or buy their own packets from people that make it, and some incredible storytelling is going on right now. And the audio world is growing, not as fast as YouTube, because people are very much faster, easily entertained with pictures and moving pictures,
Mm.
but it is a growing industry, and it is one of those things that it's something to look out for. It's very
I guess
specialized.
they still consider it as radio.
What,
And,
podcast?
yeah, and radio's like it's far behind.
They say, but I don't.
I guess that's the mentality.
I think it is. I think it is. But to be honest, I mean, there is a world out there where there are awards. I don't know if there's award shows, but I know there are awards for people that work in podcasting, in the story and journalism that goes on in podcasting. I'm just wanting to know, like, I'm trying to narrow it down, and start finding schools or little city hubs that promote audio specifically and video. You know, because when we went, one of my students, William Beatty, was thinking about going to UTSA, and majoring and seeing what they had with communications, and he went, and he was not like what he thought that they would have. They didn't really have.
Mhm.
So I'm wanting to learn as much as I can about all these schools and the opportunities around here,
Well,
so
you,
that they
you need
can.
like a dedicated program. I know some colleges have more dedicated to it than others.
Right.
I think UNT, I think their media arts program is growing.
Uh-huh.
So I think like a lot of classrooms are being overfilled,
Okay.
and like a lot of people are being waitlisted,
Wow.
and I think it's growing
Uh-huh.
like a lot, and I think they're putting more
More money and
effort
attention
into it. I
into
think
it.
so.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it's one of those
it's
things.
a pretty successful program.
See? All right. What? Well. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't forget anything useful. Oh, you remember Lillian Pineda?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, she's going to get an internship at Texas Public Radio in
that's
January. Yeah. And again, she used to help out with audio in class, so that's always a big help. I'm trying to understand, or trying to pick your brain a little bit more on, well, everything audio, of course, right? So let me think. What audio software do y'all use? Do you do anything in post? I mean, I know you work in the
It's
exactly
all
in the
live
production,
sound,
so
so
all
it's
live.
I don't do it very much on computer. It's all
Right
it's
there
all,
with the mixer.
it's right there.
It's playing
It's
instantaneously.
physical. It's very physical. That's like what you get on the board is what you got.
And are you manipulating light and audio simultaneously, you by yourself? Or
Uh,
is there like two people,
there's
one
not,
man in
it's
each?
usually people,
Okay.
but sometimes with the sometimes like the schedule just comes out weird.
Yeah.
But at least for the jazz bands, like if you want like if they want a really good light show, then
Right.
yeah, there'd be a dedicated person.
Okay.
But for like little like karaoke events, like you
Yeah.
do audio and
Yeah,
light
because there's
as
not
well.
much
Yeah.
manipulating with the lights, or even the audio. It's just, make sure that.
Yeah, it's just like two microphones and the playback. So it's just
It's just kind of way you just move the fader a little bit.
pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wanted to ask you, or talk a little bit about this. I want to, thank you for telling me about tiny desk
desk,
concerts.
yeah.
Oh my God. I've bumped into some of my now favorite musicians through that one, and KEXP.
Yeah, those are
I think
good.
you also told me about that one. I think, clearly those are opportunities that exist in very well-educated realms, right? Yeah, thank you. And very, there's a lot of money in those cities for those things. Did you move? Here. There's a lot of money in those towns and in those markets, because KEXP is in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Texas Public Radio, but
KP.
NPR
Yeah.
is, I don't know where they're based.
I want to say like on the East Coast
Is
around
it
there.
East?
I want to say.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I think they'd be on the east. Well, anyway, they, like, as they're recording, they're playing that stuff live in radio, right? Like so you could be tuning in, you're driving, and you could be listening to a live recording. You know, I mean, that doesn't necessarily happen in Eagle Pass, but I mean, there's no reason why not to prepare kids for things like that, right? Now, these are people that have expanded from just, you know, being a KEXP, you know, was once upon a time only a radio station that only played through broadcast, you know, towers or whatever. And then they expanded to, I guess, you know, podcasting, and then they've expanded to, oh, hey, well, let's just record video about it and, you know, put it on YouTube now. So they could you know, syndicate their information, yada, yada, and put things out there, and they're doing different forms of media to put themselves out there. Now, granted, all of that takes a lot of work, a lot of skill, a lot of people to make it happen, you know, and a lot of people working together to make it happen. But one of the things I've liked about the class in general is that we kind of try to do a little bit of that, you know, again with the Velvet Hues, but also, you know, just recording our local talent. You know, when Rita came over and, you know, you recorded them. Oh, and you also got the chance to record the Ragdolls. That was a little ad hoc. He was like, hey, you know, we brought our guitar, what you're going to play. He's like, this is really cool, right? And had you heard the Ragdolls before that day?
I haven't.
No?
Here's my service.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. So, for me, I mean, as small as this town is, there is, if you look for it, there is talent.
Yeah,
there is
just
talent.
have to look for it. And people are so, like, nervous and shy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
We gotta, you know, and we are making an environment where, hey, like, come in and we'll do an interview, you know, and come in and we'll record you, and, you know, it's like a win-win-win situation. Win where we get the experience. Two, you win because you get recorded and you get to be on our show and you get to show, you know, something produced, you know, at a high school level, but, you know, with some real, you know, good equipment and you know, kids that are trying to make you look good, you know. And then the program wins as a whole because, you know, we want our kids' work to be showcased and shared, and we want our kids to go out of high school and go to college and do, you know, neat work. So I've always liked that, that you showed me that one specifically. Someone else showed me another one. Have you seen the Modern Jukebox?
Is that where they replay or they remake?
Aha.
Yeah.
They remake like popular 90s songs. I think that guy is around my age because a lot of the songs that he shows, at least in the beginning of his YouTube career, were songs that I remember listening to when I was a kid. And then he remakes some.
Yeah, he does really good covers.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
That
I
guy's
think
incredible.
I saw Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
That vocalist.
Really?
She's so good.
I don't know if I remember seeing.
Like, they have a bunch of them.
Yeah. I love some of my favorites are like I've learned to like songs that I never thought I would like the original artist, and I really end up liking, like, man, this is great.
I think the first one I saw was about was that Macklemore song.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the name of that song. I'm gonna pop some tags.
Oh, that one,
yeah.
yes.
$20
Yeah.
She just made it like it goes so jazzy. I don't know.
Yeah, and it feels nice, you know, because for me, I play out music. I love music so much, but certain songs, like, I'll listen to a million times until I get like really bored of it. And when you get to be as old as I am, and I'm not even that old, but it's hard to look for new music because it actually takes work, because MTV's not telling you what's cool anymore.
MTV's dead.
Yes, right. So for me, I used to like check out MTV and it's like, oh, I guess this is awesome now. And I'll listen to it, it's like, yeah, it is pretty good.
But that's the thing about MTV, like they decided what
it
to
was
show
good.
you.
It was good and bad. It was good and bad.
But I feel like nowadays, like, you have so much
it's so saturated.
Yeah, you have
which goes back to what you were
everything.
saying. You have nothing. I have nothing. It's in a weird way because I stayed stuck to my old music, and now it's not just one song. It's like whole genres of music that I love and I want to listen to again, but I just can't for the life of me continue listening to it because I'm just so I'm not over it, but I need a break. A year, 2 years, 3 years, listen to something else, and then come back and be like, oh, I love that song, you know? And so what I think that this jukebox dude did is he made something old that you once loved, mixed it with something even older from the 40s, 50s, 30s, added his own super creative touch to it. And now you could listen to your old favorite songs, but through a different lens, and it feels fresh.
It really does.
Know?
Yeah, it's just a different perspective.
And at first his videos were very simple. Like it was one camera, no switching, no nothing. Good audio. And the guy makes money now because of his YouTube videos. They get a lot of hits.
They tour around, right?
They do tours now in Europe and the US. They sell merchandise. They sell vinyls. There's this weird push of going back to old analog, old
vinyl.
Polaroids. You know what I'm saying?
Even cassettes too.
Yes, but it's a weird push and pull.
I guess because we're just so tired of digital, you know.
Yes,
I think
too
with
easy.
digital music, you can't hold it.
No, you can't touch it.
Like
you cannot put it in my case and put it right here.
You can't
and
show it
save
off. Like,
yeah.
oh, I just got the new album. Like, look at my iPhone.
It's like, do I even have it? Like, right?
Yeah, like.
Exactly, and I think the kids that are going into what you're doing and what Moses is doing and Jacob. Well, Jacob's going into law, so that's different. But who else is going full throttle? Pedro Castro is doing this. You have to be way more clever, more crafty. You have to evoke feelings of nostalgia while also, because that nostalgia makes people come to you, while also giving them something new and fresh. Another good example of that, Stranger Things.
Have not seen it.
But you've heard
the
hype.
80s themes, right?
Very 80s, Stephen King, right? And everyone kind of is like, oh, I remember this, the colors, the outfits, the storylines, the coming of age story, the riding the bikes, the, Stand By Me style movie, and yet it's new, And so it evokes this feeling like, I want to go back to those times, but live on this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want to listen to I want to feel classy by listening to old
Is that like the new thing
music.
now?
That is what it is. I feel. And so, but you just have to be crafty, clever. And I mean, they do that for radio, for music. You remember the song, I read this book by Charles Dunning, The Power of Habit. And they do this thing called sandwiching. So they'll play a current song that's popular, and then they'll insert a song that's not necessarily popular.
Oh, like for radio?
For radio.
Okay.
And then they'll play another song that is popular, right? And so the song that's not so popular yet, because you're hearing it in between, you start compressing it in your mind. It's like, oh, this is all together. So the song that he used was Hey Ya. You remember Hey Ya?
Oh, yeah. I love
right?
that song.
It's a great song. But it was all over the place. There was a lot of energy. A lot of people didn't, because it didn't seem familiar. It was, they didn't know how to categorize it, so they didn't like it. It didn't do too well in the beginning. So they used a lot of this sandwiching idea to make people believe, kind of like, have you heard the phenomena, the millennial whoop?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Same idea. They insert that little whoop into their song in their own fashion, and it makes people believe that they've heard it or that they already like it. So any conceptions of like, oh, hold on, I don't know if I like this song, are kind of brought down with that little whoop.
Oh, when you hear that, like, oh, like, have I heard this song before?
Exactly.
I mean, like, you're invested. Like,
exactly.
Do I really like this song?
So when you're making content, or when you're recording content, or when you're producing it, or doing whatever with it, whatever stage that you're currently on in it, like, it's no longer like you said, it's very saturated, it's very competitive, and it's no longer okay to just be okay. It's no longer okay to just be good. It's no longer okay to just be like really good. You have to stand out like 12, 30 steps ahead of everyone else in order to truly make it, because everyone else is the ones that are trying.
Yeah, you have to be miles ahead of everyone.
You do, and it's not one of those careers that you're just gonna, just kind of do it and show
And
up.
it's not like
complain
the
about Mondays.
like it's not the big things. It's the small things that really get you through.
Yeah.
Like, I know I had a employee evaluation, and they put like I'm always like learning new stuff, and like I'm always willing to help out.
Exactly.
And that's like the most important thing. Like wrapping cables, like as mundane as that sounds, like if they see you wrapping cables like after every event, like with effort, like,
And doing it properly.
Yeah.
You don't want to break the equipment. I always tell kids always think that wrapping cables or coiling them, like when I tell them how I want them to do it, they look at them like I'm almost offending them. But they don't know, like, it has a memory to it,
Yeah.
you know, and if you do it the old school way, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible for
I
the
cringe when
cable.
people do that.
Oh my god, it's like, dude, you're breaking it, man. Like, let it
I
go.
do that with every cable, like my headphones, just
Yeah, nice.
little
and
wrap,
careful.
yeah.
Exactly. That's why a lot of the lightning cables, I don't know, any.
Well, those are just bad in
Well,
general.
one, but I mean, I've had lightning cables. My first one was horrible, and then I started learning this class and teaching it and trying to perfect it, and now it's like the cable that I've had it for 2.5 years, and it's still good. It hasn't had that ugly effect that I guess they secretly want you to, to buy
I mean,
more cables.
they're notorious for being.
They're pretty bad, but I don't know. I think I've prolonged the life of mine. So anyway, what do you have to add to that conversation of like seeing, like using KEXP as an example, as a regular? They show music. They have.
Or like Austin City Limits.
Oh God, they just.
I
find ways of-
would
it's all
totally love to
entertainment.
work there, like as anything, like as a videographer. So I do a little bit of videography too.
Yeah, I remember you
over
sent
there.
me a text. You're like, what was that one website for royalty-free content?
Oh, that was for a project. Yeah, I was for.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was useful.
That was my communications project. It was about. We had like different topics, and I think mine was about diversity. And so, and a good thing Moses was my roommate because I borrowed his camera, his little tripod, his everything, and I had my H1. And I went to the library mall, like the little center of campus.
Yeah.
And since it was about diversity, I had an idea, like, why don't we get people to say hello in different languages?
Right.
And that'll be like the intro.
Wow, nice little intro sequence, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I did like after that, I faded it out and did like a slow pan into my friend who was in the project with me, and then she said her lines and everything, and then I did my other friend, and then like it was 3 of us that did the project. It was 5 people in the group, but
group
yeah,
work,
just
yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
Those 2 people just weren't gonna.
And everyone gets credit, yeah.
We had to make up questions about like our video and stuff, so they did the question, but.
Oh, okay.
That
what, takes
was
you
so
2 minutes?
simple, yeah. They probably did it like the day before.
It's like that. Yeah.
And they were really impressed by it. So
They were? Good.
She wanted a copy of it so she could send it to her, I guess, dean.
Okay.
I don't know what you would say. It
What
was
do
really
you-
simple.
What do you think, being over there right now, studying what you've studied, having switched majors like you've switched, I have a couple of questions for both, one for the students in general, and then one for me as a teacher, as the main person behind the audio video program at Eagle Pass High School. One is, as a student in high school, what would you recommend for those kids to do if they really want to do audio or video or communications, or
I was
just in this field? What could they do to be better, to more easily, like you, get a job over there in that realm, to do better in your classes, to, I don't know, to feel a little bit better about majoring whatever they're going to major in?
I would just say just to start now, because that's really all it is. Like your homework, start now.
Yeah.
Your project, start now. To study, start now. And to for audio, just start recording. Like
Just do it, yeah. Because a lot of people like to say a lot of things, but they don't do a single thing.
Yeah.
They say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they don't do a single thing. They wait until tomorrow or someday.
they talk all this stuff, and then it's just like, nah.
They always say, that's one of my favorite quotes. Some day is the busiest day of the year. right? I'll do it someday. They never get to it.
Yeah, it's
Just do it. You're saying, no, just, like, I'll try. Like, no, like, you do it
like,
now.
no matter how bad it is, like it can only get better.
Yeah, and
like
that's always the case.
it can
the
only
first
get
video
better.
for students, the first podcast for students is always horrible, and they always get like light years ahead.
Yeah, I remember with when we played in the studio with Rick Mendez.
Yes.
I remember every time like I mix for the jazz bands, I always think back to that.
No way.
Those audio clips, because I still have them on my phone. Actually, I listened to them a couple of times.
Yeah, I love that.
And
I love
it's just
that
like
when you Moses and Rick Mendez played at our studio too.
Yeah,
That's what I
that's what I meant.
Because you guys played in both, both at KINL and at KEPR.
But like the one at our studio
Okay.
was like we actually recorded.
Right.
And like looking back at the mixing, like no, I regret every decision I made on that. Like you could barely hear the drums on certain parts,
Right.
and then like the vocal monitor cut out in the middle of one song. I remember that, and it's just like when I first
It's
mixed
on
it.
SoundCloud still, right?
Yeah, when I first mixed it, I was like so proud of myself. Like yeah, like the first songs I ever mixed, like legit songs.
Right.
And now like I look back, it's like no, like what was I doing?
Right.
And I actually learned from that process.
Well, you have to fail.
Yeah.
Most people just want to, start off by walking, but no one realizes that like you have to first crawl. You get up there and climb up and push and then all right, we're walking, we're running, we're jogging now, we're hitting our stride.
Like
But
in the
you don't
wise
just-
words of Yoda, failure is the best teacher.
Yes, it is. It truly is. But the thing is, unfortunately, in today's society, they don't. It's like they're allergic to it too. They don't want to fail. They don't want to lose face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They're not even willing to fail because they're the ego. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
It's just because you see everyone so successful, and you see everything like all the videos that they produce is like, oh, it's so amazing. Like I can't get to that level. Like
So why even try?
yeah,
I
or
don't-
just half-assed it, like
Yeah.
in a way.
Because the only way, because those guys didn't start off like that.
They didn't.
That's
yeah.
a trick. That's the. But we see them and you see all their work, and you don't realize, like just like Facebook we mentioned earlier, super curated, right? They're not going to put the ugly stuff, right? They're not going to put
Exactly.
their failures out there. They put the best. Of
I
the
mean,
best.
you don't have to put out the stuff
No.
that you made in the beginning.
No, but you have to do it though.
You have to do it.
What about? Okay, so you're saying just start now. Like, don't just talk about it and be about it. Just do it. Right?
Just anyway. Just
As horrible
start.
as it may end up being, just do it. What about I need to show you that video because I don't know if you've kept up with our site, but our social media posts, but we've done a lot better, like storytelling wise, everything. What do you think I can do, or even Mr. Gonzalez can do together for us to do together for the kids? What would we do as a program to help the kids, be better?
I would just say
prepared?
like, just be very consistent. Like have a very consistent schedule. Because I mean, if you have a very lenient one, it's like I can do that tomorrow, or I can do a little bit right now and do a little bit later. But we have like a deadline or something like that. Like it's crunch time. Like you have to do it.
Right.
Like no matter if it's good or bad, you have to put it out.
Right.
And that's what forces people to like, I don't want to put out like this bad content, so I have to put effort into it and make sure it's good
Right.
and not like some mess.
Right.
And you have to do it by like every 2 weeks, like come out with like a show or something.
And that stuff I've been.
And that's how it is in the world. Like that's how it is in the real
exactly.
world.
Yeah,
Like
they don't have that this leisure, like
especially like broadcast. Like it's very. I did a football show my first semester. I was the audio guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was for like a little stint in my media arts production.
Right.
And it was I mean it wasn't national television, but they played it like locally.
Yeah.
And we had like a little bit of time restrictions, and sometimes we'll go over, and then like the station manager would be like, hey, like you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, then and stick to the schedule, like intro, commercial, make sure everything's good, and then the actual segment, commercial segment, and then it has to be on time.
Right.
And that's how it should be in the
That's
program.
That's how it is in the professional setting. So stick to that. Yeah, when we went to Texas Public Radio, we saw a dude, one of the announcers there, not the announcers, one of the hosts. He literally it was Nathan Cohn, the guy that was walking us through and showing us everything. He showed us, it's like, okay, look, he's about to go on air, and he did it live, right? Bill O'Reilly, we'll do it live. He did it live, right? And he's like, okay, he's got 1 minute, to do, his announcement, right? Exactly 1 minute. There's no edits.
Yeah.
This was like recorded right now. This is
exactly.
And so, and he's in his little, booth, and we were able to hear him on the other booth that we were in. It was beautiful. I mean, his voice, like they mentioned, the smooth, buttery voice of a public radio station, right? He started, 1 minute. He made those announcements. He made whatever it was. I can't remember whatever was going on in the news that week. And literally, he did the conclusion, right? And I mean, to the millisecond ended. All right, now back to your regular produced content. Boom, on the millisecond, just. It was incredible.
And you can only do it just by practicing and
you're not going to do it
over and over.
You're not going to be fumbling. I want to see if I could show you a little bit about that, because just like with you guys, I hope the internet works here, because we're at the Huddle House right now. They claim that they have free Wi-Fi, so let's go to the test. I want to show you 2 videos that I'm very proud of the kids, my current practicum kids, that they did. As I was with you guys, with all the things that you guys have done, or did when y'all were my students. These guys right now are doing some really neat things. Of course, some nicer than others, but in general.
It's just how it is.
It's just how it is. Can't win them all.
That's why you got to step up if you want to become.
Let's see here, Microsoft Connect. Settings interrupted. Let's see, Huddle House, Connect, terms of use. I just want to show you 2. Did it snow in Dallas? Did y'all get some snow?
No.
You didn't get some
I
snow?
did not see snow. I was really pissed off that it snowed here.
I got 2 videos. I got one that shows the snow, one that shows the trip to.
Well, I think when I drive back, it's gonna be really cold.
Yeah, well, it snows more often clearly in Dallas than it does here. So you will. Did you see snow last year or?
Yeah, usually, so I was really frustrated when it snowed here.
My kids, we were talking about like how the last time it snowed, it was 32 years ago,
in
January
84,
1985. It was real
I have a
close to
picture of
84.
my dad.
And back then, I talked to my mom about this, and she's like, yeah, and my sister's like, yeah, the film, because back then that's how they took pictures, right? The film ran out all of Eagle Pass. It ran out in all of Eagle Pass. Everyone took pictures, just like we did now. But right now we take these, well, we don't take these granted, but it's really neat because we don't need film. You just need memory, and most cameras have most phones have a lot of memory, so you can take as many pictures as you want. And we got to take a lot of pictures. Back then also, it was all analog. So in Eagle Pass, very few people actually archived that information. So what we did in class that day, we talked about that a little bit, and we decided, we got to put it all together and archive it carefully and beautifully, and use search engine optimization so that in later years, when kids want to look back, or adults, at the last time it snowed, it will be well archived and documented on our page, Eagle Public Radio, right? So anyway, and I mean, it's got all the videos we did. We have a vlog we have a magazine now too, by the way.
A magazine?
Yeah, we make money off of this one. We were talking about deadlines. This is one of the few things that we've, hard deadlines. We cannot, this is a holiday edition. Gage Humphrey, Victor, Beto, Ricky de Hoyos, Daniela Flores. And we have the digital one, and then we have the print, and the print one we get to sell. Dia de los Muertos, Dia de la Virgen. We talk about culture, we talk photography, day it snowed. And those are all pictures from Eagle Pass, right? Taken by students, small businesses. We always do something with businesses, right?
Of course, yeah.
And which is great because it's a win-win-win. This is the way we operate here. Class in session, everything with school. things you can do at the library, an article on that, 21 years in the making. DeAndre Torres was MVP for his position. I can't remember. So he's a varsity football champion, offensive player MVP. Aquaponics, we did that when we were when you were a student too. There was a video for the FFA, and two of my kids got to submit their work and have it showcased at the Firehouse Gallery in Del Rio.
Oh, that's cool.
That's sick, man. So it has a story, a little bit of the history of when it rained, when it snowed last. Some older photos from Jeff Taylor, and this, if you wait long enough, I think it's a gallery. Yeah, so you get to see all the pictures submitted by all the students, and it's really, really neat because it's not limited. Oh, I don't have that one.
Not that one.
Not that one. Guess that one's. Let's see. Anyway, let's see. I want you to see. They're all good. They're all good. But this one for me was my favorite. By Agustin Lopez. That's a lake.
Was it frozen?
Nah, but just snowy on top. Maybe the edges might have been slightly icy, but I don't think it's frozen over. It would be sweet if it was.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? It'll match good.
Even before the snow began to fall, there was plenty of speculation, gossip. Friends sent forecasts to each other. People posted on Twitter, and hype grew. My friends and I woke up early in the morning to see if there's any white snowflakes falling from the sky. To our surprise, there was. Plenty of it. Group chats went rampant early in the morning. Everybody was sharing news. It was snowing in Eagle Pass. We texted, snapped, tweeted with glee and radiant jubilance. Everybody went outside to see the white flurries. But apart from the news of the snow, we wanted to know one thing. Would school be canceled? We needed to know. It was our chance to have a snow day. A snow day. Never in the wildest dreams of our generation did we think we'd get a snow day in Eagle Pass. But here it was. We need to know that there was going to be school. To our dismay, school's not canceled. But just a drive-safe warning, we were told by the school board that the show would go on. School or no school, we knew there'd be fun.
Everyone was playing in the
Yeah, that was before the bell rang. In the morning.
Ironically, I was glad I was. I got to wake up early, be with my family. And only an hour later, I got to play with my friends. While our spirits were high, our elders were having a nostalgic trip. The last time it snowed in the past was in January of 1955. Our teachers and our parents saw the event and asked them to share the last something. As a child, my father would talk to them. And now, I have my own. By midday, the snow is gone.
Pictures, Ken Burns effect, all that.
The air was still cold. No doubt about that. But
Anyway,
it's finite life.
I wanted you to see that so you could see,
It's still something amazing to remember.
the different kinds of projects. Thank God that we're working on right now.
Thanks for watching.
Right?
Like the snow.
Right.
Until the next
And it's something that keeps on growing. And
The storytelling, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
it was
cool?
really
it really
nice.
is something
Agustin
that
Lopez, man. I mean,
I love now.
the narration,
And I've loved
pictures,
learning about it.
Ken
And I love
Burns
getting more
effect,
into
all
it,
that.
And really, it's the students that kind of make it be what it is. And it's
Anyway,
one of the best jobs
the-
to be
I
on.
wanted you
Just
to
for
see
me, it's
that,
like the
so you could
coolest.
see,
I don't even feel like I'm working most of the time. I feel like I'm just,
different kinds of projects. Thank God that we're working on.
Yeah, it's come a long way.
Right?
It's come a long way.
And it's something that keeps on growing, and it really is something that that I love now. and I've loved learning about it, and I love getting.
And then Wednesdays, that's like at night. That's when like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
actual like
You're gonna get
jazz bands perform. Like 2 jazz bands perform there. So it's like a 1 hour set for each.
Oh wow!
And it doesn't stop till like
Do you get paid
12
by the hour, or do they pay you
by the hour.
By the hour.
Yeah, because with the venues that they have inside the union,
editing.
like, they have to pay to use it,
Oh,
and that comes included with the
I'm
my
gonna go
hourly
ahead and
rate.
wrap this up. I don't know.
Well, sometimes like since it's like it's all from the campus, so sometimes he gives like
I told her I
discounts or
was
whatever.
coming.
But I still get paid. I don't know how that works.
But anyway, Victor,
But
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this
I
up.
know sometimes they do
Always
charge
a pleasure.
for extra
and please keep me
text.
updated. Check our
Like if they
page,
want
by the way.
like
But keep me updated
lights,
with all the
audio,
things that
and
you do. Any
for all to be recorded on
opportunities for
video.
kids and
Yeah, that's an
radio,
extra. You have to charge
podcasting,
by the
and
cameras
Foley, anything
and
audio.
all that stuff.
Any ideas things that I can do, any pages for learning it, for sharing with the kids or for myself.
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
I'm always,
I don't know.
open to
my wife-
learning more, and for the kids to learning more, and to be more competitive.
Sure. I
know?
told her I was coming. We should But anyway, Victor, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this
Yeah.
up, son. Always a pleasure, and please keep me updated. Check our page, by the way. But keep me updated with all the things that you do. Any opportunities for kids in radio and podcasting and Foley, anything audio. Any ideas things that I can do. Any pages for learning it, for sharing with the kids or for myself. I'm always, open to learning
Yeah,
more,
no
and
problem.
for the kids to learning more and to be more competitive.